You are listening to Beyond the Wheel, a podcast about the people and ideas that drive the RV community forward.
Looking to get out there and stay out there? Battleborn Batteries lithium-ion batteries are here to power your RV, marine, and off-grid adventures. Designed as an easy drop-in replacement for traditional lead-acid batteries, these reliable solutions have 2 to 3 times the power, charge 5 times faster, are a fifth of the weight, and last 10 times longer. Offered in a variety of models in unique sizes and shapes, ranging from 50 amp hour to a robust 270 amp hour. And backed by a 10-year warranty. Battleborn batteries are built to fit your needs and power your experiences. On the road, on the water, and off the grid, reliable power is here. Check them out at battlebornbatteries.com. Hey everyone, before we get into this episode, I have a quick favor to ask of you. Could you please leave us a review on whichever platform you are listening this episode on? If you are listening right from our website, leave a comment down below. We would love to hear from you. Well, folks, this is it. The last day of the FMCA convention in Perry, Georgia. Sean and I had a great time at the event, and we want to thank FMCA for inviting us out to the show. We also want to thank Echo One Adventures for picking up the fuel bill to make it to the event. Today, we are joined by Ed with FMCA Roadside Rescue, followed by Chuck with Proteng. FMCA Roadside Rescue specializes in RV roadside assistance, and as you will hear in this episode, you don't necessarily need to be on the road to use the service. FMCA Rescue is available for your RV 24/7, no matter its age or mileage. You are even able to call in to help diagnose an issue over the phone to possibly save you from a tow. After a short break, we will introduce you to Proteng, which is a company that developed an automatic fire suppression system for RVs. Proteng was originally created for auto racing, but now is offered to protect your RV. Each Proteng is custom fitted per RV, is non-toxic, and will not leave any residue. There is no maintenance to be done, and they can install a system into your tow vehicle as well. Well, without any further ado, let's get this episode started. Hey everybody, and welcome back to day 4 of the FMCA convention here in Perry, Georgia. Today we are joined by FMCA Roadside Rescue, and we have Ed joining us. Ed is with Roadside Rescue. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role?
Yeah, my role is manager of RV services for the licensed motor club, which is Safe Ride RV Motor Club, and we're the provider of FMCA Roadside Rescue to FMCA members.
Okay, excellent.
And what are what kind of services do you guys provide if somebody was to sign up for Roadside Rescue?
Okay, the services we provide as part of FMCA Roadside Rescue are towing to the nearest qualified or authorized service center in the event of a breakdown, regardless of the distance. Oh. So the member can, if he has our program, if they break down on one side of Yellowstone Park and we can't tow them through Yellowstone Park, they have to go to the east side. That tow bill is about $4,800.
Oh,
they
wow.
simply sign and drive. So there's no limits to it as long as they call our service center first, the number on their membership card, and we authorize them. And even if for some instance where we can't get to them in time, if they're on a turnpike up in New England and the Turnpike Authority has control over the wreckers, they simply still call us first, notify the member services that they've been instructed by the Highway Patrol they have to use somebody else. As long as it's on our recording when they call us first, we'll reimburse them for any tows. We'll have them tow them to the first off-ramp. There's also 24/7, 365, those services are available, as well as certified techs on the phone, 24/7, 365, to answer any questions that they may have, help them retract a slide or get their jacks or anything. If their furnace won't light, we can walk them through it. We represent currently all of the major manufacturers. I have programs for all the major manufacturers with the exception of 2 right now.
Okay. So I like what you just said, though. They may not necessarily need to have somebody physically come out to them. You guys can walk them through over a phone call and have them kind of work it out themselves, but you're there to help guide them through it.
Correct, because we are RVers ourselves, and we realize that all of us involved in the incident, the one thing we don't want, if we can avoid it, is to have the recreational vehicle or their home towed. So if we can get it repaired by walking them through it or dispatching a mobile mechanic to their location, we'd prefer to do that.
Okay. And I think you said even walking them through like a furnace situation. So even the house part of it, it's not just the drivetrain.
No, it's the entire recreational vehicle. So we have a program for towables and motorized. That's how we divide the programs, two different price points within FMCA for that. But it covers not just their recreational vehicle, but every unit those people ever own, rent, or borrow.
Oh, okay.
So it would be like a AAA policy,
Yeah.
but geared towards their RV as opposed to geared towards their automobile, and they also do RVs. So we do RVs, and we can also do all their automobiles.
So you guys have obviously affiliated services all around the country that are the ones that are actually going out to do the towing.
Correct. We have, and if you look in the media and all the different roadside companies out there, we all promote that there's somewhere between 20 and 30,000 reps that we use, service providers,
Okay.
if you will. One of the differences we have is we have in-force contracts with them. We have copies of their in-force insurance policies, which is important for the RVer, and we also have equipment lists. Now, I'm not going to say in today's world that everything happens right all the time, that they always dispatch the proper vehicle, because unfortunately we have to deal with people.
Right.
And that doesn't always happen. I think
Right.
why most of the manufacturers and all the clubs and most of the insurance companies and service contract providers use us at Safe Ride is because when we make a mistake, we're going to stand behind it
Okay.
and make it up to the customer to the best of our ability.
Okay.
Besides the insurance aspect, how are those companies vetted?
We go to there's 5 major tow shows throughout the United States. So we attend the tow shows
okay.
every year and get contracts with them. Also,
Okay.
members tell us about people that want to do it that have done a good job. They may
Wow.
not be in our database.
Okay.
And it's all based on a rating system.
Okay. Yeah, because I'd imagine it's hard the vetting process must be difficult because there's so many. And
Right. There's whole departments that handle that
Okay.
within
Okay.
our company. And there's really only 3 companies that provide RV sign and drive roadside service. That's ourselves, a company that my wife founded called CoachNet,
Oh.
and the Good Sam Club. So those are only the 3 companies. Of those 3, we're the only one that is not owned by an RV dealership now.
That's
So
probably very important.
CoachNet is owned by Blue Compass now, as of a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And of course, Good Sam is owned by Camping World.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So what about traveling outside of U.S. If people are traveling up into Canada, what type of coverage goes with
We
them?
have 5 North America-based call centers, 4 in the continental United States, 1 in Canada. Our coverage is for all of North America with the exception of Mexico. Now, we used to do Mexico, but candidly, we can't trust what we get down there. So we advise our members, cash is king if you're in Mexico, south of the border.
Okay.
Negotiate something to get yourself to the border. We will pick you up from there.
Oh, okay, great.
okay.
Excellent. Okay. And I think you already said, but like if somebody is having an issue or a problem going on, the first call they should make is to you.
Always make our call first. I joke in my seminars that what we try to stop happening is you calling your brother-in-law who's got a wrecker who wants to charge us $10,000.
Okay.
So I say it laughingly, but that's kind of the reason you have to call us first, because we have to go through our providers, unless one of those other situation creeps up where it's not available, as we said. So
Okay. And then with that first phone call, is that when it's determined, let's try to talk you through it first, or let's see if we really need to send somebody out? Is that
when you get to the first prompt in the call register, it asks you if you're calling for technical assistance or
Okay.
roadside assistance.
Okay.
Sometimes we have to ask them to call back in because we feel that technical assistance is all they really need.
Mhm.
And it's important for the members to understand what is roadside assistance. So I usually use in my seminars the example. Biggest problem in the industry today is jacks and slides. So if your jacks or your slides will not deploy, that is not roadside assistance, because you may not want to drive it to service, but you're capable of it.
Right.
If neither of those same 2 items, jacks or slides, will retract, that is roadside assistance because you can't go anywhere.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So even if they're at a campground, it's not necessarily they have to be out on the road somewhere. If they can't leave that campground because they can't bring their jacks up, that qualifies.
Right. They could be in their driveway in their storage unit and have a dead battery, or some of the things we run into sometimes, especially here towards the southeast and where we border along the Gulf and the southeastern United States, is we have some people that don't trust the weather forecasts and hurricanes and things, and they want to be the very last people. And I always caution them in the seminars, when you've waited till the very last minute and you put all your possessions in your RV at that time and then go out and find out everything that's dead, guess what? You're not the only person that just called us and found that out in a very short time period.
Okay.
We will always attempt to get in to help you until we are stopped by the police.
Oh, okay.
So
And
plan ahead.
What about something as simple as a flat tire on the side of the road?
Okay, so if you have a blowout, the way all motor clubs read on the roadside assistance is we will come out, dispatch a provider, and replace your bad tire with your fully inflated spare.
Okay.
Obviously, most Class A's don't carry fully inflated
Right,
spares.
right.
So we'll try to find a tire for them. But what we won't pay for, they pay for the tire. We pay for the service call to come to the unit.
Okay.
And dumbing it down, if I may, you will not pay for him to drive out to your rig, jack your rig up, take your tire and wheel off. You will pay for him to take the blown casing off, put the new casing on, do any type of balancing you want.
Okay.
Now you're done paying, and we pay for his time to bolt it all back on, torque it down, lower the unit, and drive back to his place.
Okay.
So the only thing you paid for is what you wouldn't have had to pay for if you had a fully inflated spare.
Right.
Obviously, if you have a towable unit or something like that, and you have the spare, there's no charge to you at all.
Yeah, I just learned this week, actually, because I'm a towable person, and I just learned this week that most Class A's don't have a spare on them.
Yeah, well, that's because we used to carry them, myself included, just the casing,
Okay.
but they age at the same rate that yours age that are on the ground,
Yeah.
and they take up a lot of space.
Yeah, that's
So
what it is.
unless you have a very unique tire that can't be found, some of the challenges in today's world, when people are starting to flat tow behind Class A's, B's, and C's, the new E-vehicles, a lot of the new E-vehicles have no spare tires, not even a space saver like we're used to.
Okay.
When you have no spare tire and it's relatively new to the marketplace, the major challenge is we can always find Class A tires on the road 24/7 with Loves, Flying J, truck stops, because they keep moving all the time. But that unique tire to your E-vehicle may not be available on weekends or overnight.
Yeah.
So we always instruct people to beware of that.
Yeah, my hybrid, I have a hybrid that I tow behind. No spare.
Yep.
Really?
Didn't come with one. There's not a place to put one.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
not available.
Interesting.
It comes with like I'm going to call it a slime kit, even though that's not what it is, but that's
Right.
what it comes with, a slime
Yep.
for a small puncture, but a blowout, yeah, there's really no option for it. You had also mentioned earlier about the mobile RV tech coming out to you guys, and I feel like mobile RV tech seems newish to me. I don't know if it really is. How long have you guys been offering somebody being able to do that?
Well, we've been doing this since day one when we got in the roadside business.
Okay.
We've been offering them. Obviously, more and more dealerships and service centers are coming on board and trying to offer that service. So what we would do is we pay for the individual to come out to get that slide retracted. So again, you can take it to service. The hierarchy within that world now of mobile techs is a lot of places like some of our partners here at Campers Inn and stuff. They have mobile techs that can come out and they actually carry equipment where they could repair it. Now, we don't pay for the time and charges for them to repair it on site. That is between your manufacturer, if you're still under warranty, your dealer, if you've got a service contract with them, or your service provider. But if you happen to have that done, if you need to have that done on the road, I always tell people, keep the parts if they're small enough that you've replaced. If not, take pictures of them with your phone because it's dated on your phone. So you can always show them what happened if you intend to get some form of reimbursement.
Okay.
Do you have any, do you guys provide, if somebody called and said, I'm on the side of I-75 and it's not really a safe area where I'm broke down at, do you guys provide any advice to the people that are kind of panicked there at the moment?
That's all part of the service. If they're a member and they call in, if they have the service, yes, we will. And even down to if they're not in an emergency location, let's say they pull into a Walmart, if they continue to allow us to park there, where they pull into a Walmart or a Cracker Barrel parking lot and they kind of limped in and they want to get themselves to service, they can, if they're members, they can call in and we can give them the information on local dealers if they're not familiar with where to take it, that who could work on it for them.
Okay.
Okay.
I was thinking that when you said that you're the first call to make, when you're traveling, there's oftentimes that you're not familiar with the area that you're in. So by calling you guys first,
Most definitely.
yeah, I
Yep.
mean that's going to take a lot of pressure off the person of trying to find where they need to go,
Exactly.
or how to get
Exactly.
somebody to
Mhm.
them.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's a pain point that you can just forget about.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what about? Do you cover all types of RVs?
Yes, we cover everything: motorized, Class A, Class B, Class C's, the B pluses, the C pluses, all types of towables. And with our manufacturer partners, as I said, we are the provider of the first year that comes with most of the manufactured RVs in the industry.
Okay.
So they come
Okay.
with our service for 1 year. That covers the vehicle you bought from that manufacturer, unless it's a towable. So, for example, if you buy a Forest River product, it comes with 1 year, or a Grand Design. It comes with 1 year of our service.
Okay.
But that product only covers the towable unit, and it covers the towing vehicle while you're in the act of towing.
Okay.
Oh.
Now, when you renew with us, or if you get the FMCA Roadside Rescue or many of the other programs we offer through our dealer partners, it then covers your RV and every vehicle you ever own, rent, or borrow. So then everything's covered.
Everything's covered. Okay. So that brings me to another question then, because you said that the policy will come with newer RVs when you buy them. Do you not need to be an FMCA member then to have the service?
You do not need to be an FMCA member if your manufacturer partnered with us.
Okay.
And those are only for the first year. There's a couple of exceptions, but we don't, like the Highline Integras come with 3 years. The American Coaches come with 3
Very
years
nice.
of the Embellish program. But without those two exceptions, everybody else gets basically 1 year that covers the vehicle they purchased from that manufacturer only. So we get a lot of people that look at their bills they get from, we'll say AAA. I'm not picking on them, but they get from AAA, and they go, well, wait a minute, I could just upgrade now to the FMCA program, and then it covers all my vehicles,
Mhm.
which they can do right away. And a lot of members come in and do that. They'll upgrade even though they have it from the manufacturer. So,
What
Okay.
about is there an age limit to where you guys won't cover it
so
anymore?
the difference between the program we offer for all of our dealers, all of our associations, everybody else that offers the program, the manufacturer clubs, so like Tiffin Allegro Club and all those things.
Mhm.
The difference between all those programs, the benefits are identical. The difference is FMCA's product covers any year coach.
Oh,
Most
great.
other programs stop at somewhere between 10 to 12 years of age.
Yeah.
So a lot of those people, eventually, if they keep their coach a long time or they're towable, they'll switch over to FMCA at one point.
Okay. And I know mileage isn't usually an issue, but is there a
No,
cap?
there is no mileage restriction.
Oh, that's
It's
great.
model year.
Okay.
Because again, when you get into the Highline diesel pushers and stuff, the miles really don't matter,
Yeah.
which is why they don't care in the blue book values of them.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
They actually start running better.
Okay. And going back to like the styles of RVs, what about it's starting to get more and more popular? Again, it's been around for a little while, but like custom vans of where somebody is cut, they'll make a custom van, but then they also get it retitled as a recreational vehicle. Is that something that you
There
guys-
are some members of those that are coming into the FMCA family. Some members do. We do about, give you a scalability, we take just over 13 million incidents a year.
Oh, I was
So
going to ask that.
It's
That's a
pretty.
lot.
It's
That's a
pretty
lot.
large.
Yeah, that's
It's pretty large.
keeping you busy.
It does. It keeps us busy.
And your call center, it's there. You said they're all North American based.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
There's 5 of them, and
Oh.
4 of them are in the United States. The one that most of the RV calls go to, we attempt to get to, is Tucson, Arizona.
Oh.
And it's candidly because you can't really remember the last time you heard about a weather incident in Tucson, Arizona.
right.
There's no hurricanes, floods, snowstorms.
Yeah.
So they're always there 24/7, 365.
Reliability.
Oh,
Right.
That's
Yeah.
pretty smart. Was that put there because of
By
that
design.
reason? By design. Oh,
By
yeah.
design and the local workworkforce,
Okay.
which is
So
always.
when somebody their year is up, let's say with their manufacturer coverage or the dealership coverage, how do they get
about 3 months
continue?
before their program expires with all our dealer and whatever link they got from the dealership of a program initially or their manufacturer program. So about 3 months before those expire, we reach out to them based on the information how good the information was that came in on their warranty registration, and we ask them if they'd like to renew.
Okay.
So they have the
you guys
chance
are
to renew.
proactive about
Yes, we
that.
are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm sure. How long have you been doing this? I forget if you mentioned.
Just shy of 30 years.
Okay, so a little while.
A little while.
You're not new to it.
No.
So in those 30 years, do you have like a favorite roadside rescue story of anybody being stranded, or that you've had to have heard some pretty good stories?
Well, we have some pretty good ones. The ones that I like to talk about the most, and I mention in the seminars, and what helps all the RVers that I just like to mention here is when you're buying a new RV from a dealer, or if you're buying a used RV, it's new to you from a private party, you've worked a long time to make the money to purchase that. Take the time to do the walkthroughs that the dealers offer. So many times I'm with great dealership partners, and they tell me, I try to show the customer how the slide goes out all the way, how the floor goes level if it's that type. But the customer goes, yeah, I know. And they want me to run the slide out 12 inches and run it back in. And I always tell them, if you would have taken the time to go through that walkthrough and learned everything about your coach, first, we wouldn't get as many calls in the first 72 hours you own the coach.
Right.
And secondly, we wouldn't get calls on Sunday afternoon when you decided to show your RV to your brother-in-law and you parked it in his front yard, and now the slide is on his front yard. So that happens. Thank God not a lot, but that's usually a reason to just go through the walkthrough. Make sure the jacks go all the way down. Make sure that when it levels and they shut off, that your coach is in fact level. The dealer wants to help you because they don't want you coming back Monday morning and waiting in line either. But so often, it's the purchaser that wants to speed up the process.
And even if you've owned several RVs, each one has its own unique features that you need to learn.
Especially in our world today, because a lot of the people and the people here on the fairgrounds with us that are looking at some of the new RVs that all the manufacturers are offering out there, the RV that they're trading in, the jacks and the slides probably worked on rocker switches that we're all familiar with. And the new ones work on 1 to 5 beautiful pads, Firefly systems, etc. in the coaches that can also work on their phone. Your Lippert awnings can go in and out on the phone. The jacks can go up and down off your phone. So they're not familiar with this, and it's important that they get familiar with the processes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people rely on like a YouTube video or something like that, and they think that they can learn it all. And there is great information in those videos, but it's nothing like actually having to walk through with the dealer that's working on these things and knowing these things day in and day out.
What I like to tell people, it's a good point you brought up, because what I like to tell people in the seminar environment is YouTubes are great. The manufacturers are doing a lot of YouTubes, but get the basic knowledge so you're not forced to watch that YouTube video under duress.
Yeah, exactly.
Watch it at your leisure with your favorite beverage and go through it, where you can stop it, play it back. What do you say? When you're on the highway and the semis that are adhering to the legal speed limit of 65 are going by you at 90, your coach is rocking pretty good at that point.
It's a scary situation.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So, Ed, for people that are here at the show, where can they find you guys in the exhibitor hall?
We are in the FMCA Partners Arena.
Okay.
So basically, I tell them, some of them don't know where that is. It's in the main hall right here behind us, and we're across from where they buy all the FMCA paraphernalia, the shirts and the jerseys and all that.
Okay.
And then for people that are not here at the show but are interested in some type of roadside rescue, how do they find FMCA Roadside Rescue?
They just go online to the FMCA website.
Okay.
And there's a link back to the Roadside Rescue on the link.
Okay. What about if you'd like, you can share a phone number if you want to share a phone number as well.
No, because it goes through the FMCA, because what FMCA does is, even in my booth here, I can't sign them up. I have to send them over to the membership booth because it goes through FMCA to verify
because
first.
They have to be a member.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes perfect sense. All right, Ed. Well, I think that's all of our questions. Is there anything that you would like to
Great.
add before we let you
No,
go, or
no,
anything
thank you for having us on. We appreciate the opportunity to talk about it.
Yeah, no, we really appreciate you
important
coming.
topic.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah. And we know that you're busy back there, so we appreciate your time.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, guys. I
All right.
appreciate it.
We want to thank Echo One Adventures for sponsoring our trip to the FMCA convention. Echo One Adventures is a company that does electrical installs in all types of RVs and rents travel trailers fully outfitted for off-grid living. To learn more about them, go to echo1adventures.com. Thanks again to Echo One Adventures for their support.
Welcome back, everybody, to Day 4, Part 2, here at Perry, Georgia, for the FMCA convention. We're joined by Proteng and Chuck. Chuck is here with Proteng, and if you could, Chuck, just kind of introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself and what your role here is with Proteng.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having us. We're excited to be at FMCA for another time here. I am the Director of Sales for Proteng. NIRVC, National Indoor RV Centers, is the exclusive distributor for Proteng for the RV industry. So we go to as many shows out in the RV industry as we can to promote fire safety when it comes to RVs. So we do a lot of seminars trying to promote RV safety. And then we talk about our role as trying to help people understand why they need Proteng and why it can help them bring peace of mind and help them understand why and how safety can be a big part of their RV lifestyle.
Yeah.
So what is Proteng?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Proteng is a fire suppression system. So a lot of people have heard of engine fire suppression systems, and generally speaking, that is a canister in the rear part of a coach near the engine, and it's usually a canister followed by a tube that has a fire sprinkler apparatus that will, this is a bad word, I guess, detonate for lack of a better word, but it will sprinkle either a foam or a powder over the engine to suppress a fire. So this is instead a solution to protect the entire coach. So Proteng, which was developed initially for the race car industry, so Proteng is actually an acronym for Protect Your Engine. So what the inventors of this discovered while racing was that they had several fires during the course of a year in their race cars. They needed something to protect their drivers and their race cars, something that was lightweight, easy to install, that was non-toxic, that left no residue. And so Proteng was discovered and invented. And so they're tubes, devices that could be, that are filled with a substance, a chemical made by DuPont called FM200. And so it's a liquid when it's installed into the tube. And once it heats to a certain temperature, it becomes gas and it pressurizes at that point. And when it gets to a certain temperature, it bursts and it becomes very, very cold. And it takes all the heat out of the compartment. And where there is no heat, there is no fire.
Okay.
Takes it below flash point, basically.
So it's an automatic system. It's not, you're not pulling pins or running to push a button or anything like that.
Completely automatic.
Okay. So Proteng, you said, means protect engine.
That's how it started.
Okay.
But now we can put it anywhere in a coach. So not just the engine. We can do, for example, when you refer to an RV, generally speaking, we're looking at engine sizes from, say, a 360, a 450, all the way up to a 605. So we would use a tube in length somewhere between 15 feet long all the way up to a 20-foot long tube. So we would wrap the engine. We would want to cover areas like the starter and the alternator, maybe even cover those chassis batteries. So anywhere along those electrical points, so anywhere along those lines, if it got too hot, we could stop that fire right at the point where it started and before it got anywhere else in the coach.
Okay.
And likewise, we want to do that with all the other points of the coach. So say an inverter, if it overheated and started a fire, we could put a tube right at that inverter and stop the fire before it got anywhere else.
Okay.
Propane refrigerator.
I was going to say
Exactly.
I was going to say
Yes.
that's actually a pretty popular spot. Is that propane refrigerator point?
Yes.
Seems to be a common
Those gas absorption
trouble.
refrigerators.
So you have a tube that's small enough to fit
Oh, yes.
in the compartment of the back of the refrigerator.
For sure. Even we make tubes small enough to fit back behind an AC/DC panel. And another point is right in the casing of a generator, for example. We want to put it right where it starts.
And when you were describing it in the engine compartment, you said wrap around, so it's a flexible tube? It's
Flexible
bendable?
tube.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, that tube, which looks sort of like PEX tubing, but really it took about 10 years of development so that tube would activate at the same pressure, at the same temperature every time. So it's not just your average kind of tubing. Yeah.
Okay.
So is the... Oh, go ahead, Ken.
I was going to say, so it's not mechanical in any way, so I'm guessing there's no... I wouldn't imagine anyway, there's no maintenance involved in something like this?
So in each tube, there is a little shot of nitrogen. So that just helps us to, it's a bubble, basically. So when it's in its liquid state, we can see from an inspection standpoint that the liquid is still stable and it's where it's supposed to be.
Okay.
There's brass fittings on either end of it that are capped one way. Well, there's no way for the liquid to come out of it. So they're installed with high heat zip ties. That you just can't find at your local Home Depot. Those are actually specially made to withstand very high heat. And then P-clamps, we put them in with P-clamps where they're necessary as well. And we'll wrap them like in engine compartments and generators where they have to be, where they're in areas where they go hot and cold and hot and cold. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
And the chemical FM200, you said, heaven forbid that ever, went off and I had to use it. Is it? You said it was non-toxic, so it's completely safe to go in there right after you're done and clean up any mess that you have to do. You don't have to worry about your pets getting into it or anything like that.
That's exactly right. So it's we're sort of late in the RV industry. The chemical has been used in lots of other applications. So they use it in server farms. It's very popular in server farms because unlike water, that's going to ruin a lot of the different servers in there. With the tubes right next to the servers, it only applies to the server that has the problem. And because it's gas at that point, it's really not affecting anything else. So it leaves no residue at all.
That's what I was going to ask. It being gas, it doesn't sound like it would.
Exactly right.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Is this something that people can install themselves, like a DIYer, or is this something that needs to be professionally installed?
A great question. So initially it was, but because it has a 4-year warranty, and because you have to be trained to know exactly in what kind of proximity it needs to be placed next to the element that we're putting it to, it really does need to be put in by a trained professional.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we do have to have somebody that knows what they're doing
No,
put it in.
That's fine. Yeah. And then how do you find an installer, or I guess they contact you, they let you know that you want to purchase the Proteng system, and then you find out where they are and where there is an installer?
Yep, another great question. So at any of National Indoor RV Center's 6 locations nationwide, so you can have it done at any of those. So you just call and get an appointment to have those installed at any of those. So there's Manassas, Virginia, Atlanta. We have a store in Nashville, Tennessee. And then we have Dallas, Texas, Phoenix, or Surprise, actually, Arizona, and then Las Vegas. We have locations in all of those. Okay. And then we have an event team that goes around to the major shows. So we have one right here at the FMCA.
Oh, you're doing installs here?
Yep, we sure are.
Oh, wow.
Okay, great.
Oh, that's very handy.
Yeah.
But if I purchased a coach from National Indoor RV Center, could I have it installed before I left?
You could do it right then and there.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a good benefit.
Takes about 2 hours. The average install, we cover about 10 areas of the coach with a single installation, and it's about a 2-hour installation.
And they all work independently from each other, right?
They
So
do.
it's not like if one goes off, they all...
Exactly right.
Okay.
Exactly right.
And then I guess if you ever had to get like your engine bay serviced or something like that, I guess you'd want to let the people know that are working on your coach that you have this, so they don't accidentally remove it or puncture it or something like that?
Yeah, so we do apply, if the owner will allow us, a sticker so that the service tech would know that there is something on board. But yeah, you would want to let them know that there is something. We try to make them inconspicuous as well, so that they're not. They're sort of out of sight, out of mind. So they do kind of fit in with everything else that happens with a coach, because there's a lot of tubes that happen in with a normal coach. So this sort of fits in with everything else. But yeah, you want to let them know.
Okay. And then you were also saying, different departments and things like that you can put them in. So it's not like and RVs come in different sizes. So I'm thinking it's not really like you don't have one system that works for everything, right? It's kind of custom.
It is.
I guess
custom.
you could say custom.
That's exactly right.
So go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say that every RV, every manufacturer, every floor plan is a little bit different. Every compartment's a little bit different. So the tube size and the actual amount of extinguishing agent in that tube is based on the actual compartment size. Okay. So we do, at a show like this, actually what happens is we send a tech out, and he takes about 10, 15 minutes to just take a walk around the coach, and he measures the compartments by volume to decide what size tube goes in each one of those compartments, to decide how many tubes it takes. We really try to use as few tubes as possible. So for example, if you have a compartment that has, say, an aqua hot and a transfer switch and, say, your inverter, if we can cover all three of those areas with a single tube, we'll try to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that kind of goes back to the point that you do need a professional installer, because they know sizing and where to place it.
And they have the right tools to be able to measure that volume.
And then once I have it installed on my coach, like once a year I have to get it inspected. Is that how that works?
Yeah, we like to have one of our techs take a look at it about once a year. And that keeps the warranty in place for those 4 years. They want to make sure that, there's a lot of movement that happens in an RV, and so they want to make sure that the tubes are staying where they're supposed to stay, and make sure that the coverage is taking place where it needs to take place. So
I guess if you were away from your coach, like during the day or something, and one of those things activated because there was a problem, you might not even know.
That's very true. If a fire were to break out while you were away from your coach, obviously you're going to smell something when you come back to your coach, so you would know that something happened.
Okay.
If you were at home when one of the tubes activated, you would definitely hear it. It does sound like a shotgun has gone off.
Oh, okay.
And if you were driving when one of those went off, because that happens as well, one of two things has probably happened. Either you've had a blowout because a tire has gone, or your Proteng has gone off. So in either case, you would want to stop and figure out what has happened.
Okay. What about tow vehicles? So I know like a Jeep Wrangler is a very popular tow vehicle. Everybody I know, I own a Jeep Wrangler. I carry a fire extinguisher in my Jeep Wrangler.
Smart.
I'm not really sure why that is, but it seems like most Wrangler owners, you don't really see it in any other vehicle, but most Wranglers we all carry fire extinguishers with us. Do you guys make it for the tow vehicles of the RVs as well?
So that's a great thing about Proteng, is we can cover virtually anything with those devices. We can put them, and customers will ask us. We've had customers who have had, for example, their dryers catch on fire. It's not an area that we typically do, but they've had somebody that have had lint catch on fire in their coach, and so we've put them behind a dryer. We've put them in air conditioner, on rooftop air conditioner shrouds, and we put them in tow vehicles because the brakes have seized on the tow vehicle, so we can put it on the tow vehicle and stop the fire from happening, because we've actually seen it, and we've seen it quite a few times now, where the brakes have seized, the fire has broke out on the tow vehicle and has jumped to the actual coach and has burned the entire coach down on the side of the road.
Yeah,
that's a crappy day.
Yeah, that's a bad day.
That's a real bad day.
And really, a lot of these, the size of a motorhome compared to the tow vehicle, a lot of times you can't see your tow vehicle in your side mirror. So it's only if you were to happen to probably look at your camera, if you have a camera facing that, or people waving you down, I guess. Hopefully people would be nice enough to let you know that your tow vehicle is on fire.
Yeah, we actually saw that exact thing happened in Quartzsite a couple years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, poor woman was driving down the highway, didn't even know it was happening.
Yeah.
People flagged her down, and great people like you tried to stop, had a fire extinguisher in their vehicle, and tried to put the fire out to no avail. But yeah.
Proteng, I know since Kenny and I have been coming to the FMCA shows, Proteng's been a good partner with FMCA for a while.
Yeah.
So you guys are you at the big convention at FMCA?
We're at all the big internationals. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of the regionals actually too.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, we go to a lot of the regionals.
Okay.
But for people that aren't here at the show, able to come up to the booth and talk to you guys, what's the best way for somebody to get in contact with you? And what type of information do they need to have handy for when they're talking with you?
So they can go to the website for sure, which is they can go to nirvc.com. They can go to the website there and check out any of the best or the most convenient store to them, and talk to one of our service writers. They can do that, or they can go to our NRVC owns a distribution company called otrdistribution.com. So they can go there, and that'll get directly to our show team. And so there's phone numbers and ways to reach us there. So that's a great way to get to the show team.
Okay.
So I could call NIRVC just like I needed any other service.
Exactly.
Call and say, hey, I want to get Proteng installed on my coach.
That's exactly right.
Oh, okay. That's pretty easy then.
And I'm sure it varies, but about how long? If somebody would call you, they set up the appointment, they show up with their RV. Is it an overnight type of job? Is it done in a day?
2 hours.
2
2 hours.
So they're not necessarily. They don't even really need to leave the RV at all. They could
Not
just
necessarily,
wait
unless they're getting other things done. But if it's purely there, it may be a little bit longer if they're getting an estimate and the installation. It might take a little bit longer, but if they call ahead and then they go in to get the installation, it would not be an overnight stay.
Okay. And every one of those locations that you mentioned earlier
They're all
are
trained
able
and ready to go.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And at the show, are you guys offering any discounts to members?
So FMCA members have a 10% discount.
Oh, nice.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
The benefits for FMCA
I know.
just keep adding up.
It's endless.
That's what we keep on saying. Like the membership is relatively inexpensive for the FMCA membership, and it really does pay for itself.
It
really
does
fast.
over and over again.
And over.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you get those benefits immediately. There's no waiting period. But
Yeah.
I believe that's all of our questions for you today,
Terrific.
Chuck. Unless
Yeah.
there was anything that we missed or that you want to add before we let you go.
No, I'm grateful to have me, and thank you for your time, and I appreciate your audience.
Yeah, thank you so
Thank you.
much.
We know
Yeah.
you're really busy in there.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
we
It's been a great
appreciate it.
show.
Yeah.
This wraps up the interviews from Day 4 of the FMCA International Convention. Thanks for tuning in to this series. Hopefully, you were able to get informed about the benefits of roadside assistance as well as an option for fire protection in your RV. We have some exciting interviews coming up, so we hope you will subscribe to the podcast if you have not already. Also, please leave us a review on your preferred podcast platform. It helps get the show out to more listeners. As always, thanks to our sponsors, Battleborn Batteries, and a special thanks to Echo One Adventures for sponsoring this series of interviews at the FMCA convention. Safe travels, everyone, and we will talk to you soon.
Looking to get out there and stay out there? Battleborn Batteries lithium-ion batteries are here to power your RV, marine, and off-grid adventures. Designed as an easy drop-in replacement for traditional lead-acid batteries, these reliable solutions have 2 to 3 times the power, charge 5 times faster, are a fifth of the weight, and last 10 times longer. Offered in a variety of models in unique sizes and shapes, ranging from 50 amp hour to a robust 270 amp hour, and backed by a 10-year warranty. Battleborn batteries are built to fit your needs and power your experiences. On the road, on the water, and off the grid, reliable power is here. Check them out at battlebornbatteries.com. With the complexity of all the systems in an RV, I always say it's not if something's going to break, but a matter of when is something going to break. That is why I think an extended warranty for RVs is so important. We first interviewed wholesale warranties back in 2019 and immediately became impressed with how their policies worked, such as you can take your RV to any licensed repair shop, including mobile repairs. They also have personalized service plans, making sure you are getting the right policy for your needs. And if you think your RV is too old for a policy, You might be surprised to hear that RVs up to 20 years old can still be approved for a policy. That is more age lenient than most RV parks I've stayed at. Go to wholesalewarranties.com/beyond the wheel or click the link down below in our show notes to get your free quote today.